You know, cool stuff Inc. has really great prices compared to Norwegian price. That is, it's almost half price. So, oh yeah, and they have other kinds of games as well. I want this one and check out. Let's see, shipping cost. Oh, shipping cost. It's like 3 times the price of the games itself. No, this isn't working. Please, God, can you make Norway closer to America so we don't have the shipping? Okay, now we're talking. See ya. While we're at it, can you make Sweden useful again? No? Well, had to try. Welcome to Dokmus, an island where the gods will physically move the tiles around or the land around and rotate them, just like in real life apparently. Yeah. Anyway, we discovered a new island and it was dedicated to the old gods. So now it's abandoned and it's up to us, the new tribes, to explore the island and gain the most favor from the gods by exploring the most. So we have a lot of temples around the table here, or the board here, smaller temples and bigger temples, and we have these tokens here which we're going to put on here and then put the next one adjacent to it and so forth, and expand all over the board. And we don't have that many tokens to start with, and to do all this, we do need to manipulate stuff. Yeah, so suddenly these are adjacent to there. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Each round we have gods here. Each round we collect all the gods, and the star player will choose one god in secret and then send the next onward, and they will choose one and so forth until all have selected. And then we start with 1 and 2 and so forth, and we do our stuff. And on my turn I will take 3 tokens and put it on the board. These are the gods you can choose from. And the number here indicates which turn order you're going into on the round. God number 1 is this tile token here. It is the star player token. If you have this, you're the star player. Simple enough. So here, you take one tile and shove it around in any direction. This one, you take a tent, one of your own, and place it one tile or one square in either direction, not diagonally. Here you take a tile and rotate it. Easy enough. And the last one takes all these 3 and you can choose one of those. So you have a lot of options here, but you go last and you might be too late to the party. So here I have all the tokens, the tents, set up 3 and 3, and it's easy to see it's 8 rounds. And at the start of the game we have 1 token which we will place at the edge of the map, either in a forest or on plains. But first I'm going to criticize the components a bit, because they are very, very pointy. And sometimes you pick it up and you see it's very pointy. Pick it up and just falls out of your hand. And yeah, the yellow ones are cool, but the blue ones are really slippery for me. And that wasn't even intentional. So yeah, real bad design for those. But it looks cool, but to pick it up it's awful. You have to pick it up on the sides. But it's so counterintuitive. But anyway, on my turn, I am going to set up three tents. And during my turn, whenever I put this out, I can use my god power. Now this god power tells me I can move a tile one direction. And the limitation is here. You see the board is 3 times 3. I can only move to this square. That means I can move this here, or this here, or this here. I can do it at any point during my turn. Now, there are some movement restrictions here. Normally I can just do this and move my tents around adjacent to each other. But there are some rules which are clearly stated here on this handout, but also in the rules in a very wordy way, and it took me quite a while to figure out what it actually meant. But I'm going to tell you. Normal movement, I can put a tent here, and here, and here, and here. But you can never put on a mountain, so ignore that one. I can, however, put here, and here, and even here, as my 3 tents. Now, I could go into the forest. So let's say I want to go in here. Come on, here. But to go into the forest, it's really expensive. I have to sacrifice a scout or something and put it in a sacrifice pile, which I'm coming back to later. And that has to be one of the 3 tokens I put out. Now I'm in the forest and I can go here without an extra. And in the future I can go here and continue in the same forest. But as soon as I enter a new forest, I still have to pay again an extra tent to go into that forest. Another movement option is to go over the volcanoes. You can go here and then here. After I've put out all my tents, I have to remove this and put it in the sacrificial pile. The other thing are these temples here. And you see I still struggle to pick up the pieces. So the temple here is adjacent as long as this is adjacent. So now this piece here is adjacent to here, here and here, which means I can go here easily. But now I still have to pay more to go into this forest here, so I need to sacrifice one of my other 3. The last thing is the river. I'm going to turn this around just to make an example, like so. If I'm adjacent to the river, I can then use one of my 3 pawns to sail around the river and maybe jump off here. But of course I need to sacrifice the boat itself and put one here. This is sacrificed, but you see I can sail as long as there is connected, sail all around the map. And the god power makes it even easier to move around. Now, using these pieces here to go all over the map using this method is impossible. You need to have some divine help. So let's say I had a piece here, and I have my 3 tokens this turn. Okay, first I'm going to move through the temple and put it here. Then I'm going to use my divine powers and move this tile way over here. Now I have 2 more tokens. I could, for instance, go here and here. Suddenly I connected to 3 tiles here, and that is way powerful. Even if I do this later, I can still be adjacent here or here. It's all spread out, and that is an incredible good way to explore the island with. And this power used to move your own token is also very powerful. Let's say I have this one. I can just do this. And now I'm in the forest without having to sacrifice one of my tokens. And that's incredible. I can go here even because it's the same forest and it's connected, adjacent. So what happened to all my sacrificed tokens? They go here, and probably with some other players' tokens as well. You probably have to sacrifice something during the game. But the one who sacrifices the most gets more points at the end of the game. So let's say it's a 4-player game and yellow has the most. He will get 5 points for doing so. And so you sacrifice your pawns and you still get points for doing so. So it's a good compensation for having to go through the forest and other stuff just to make your way around the map. Scoring in this game is kind of easy. You score points for being next to temples all around the map. So if you are next to every temple on the map, you get a lot of bonus points. And if you are on all per tile, you get points, and if you just spread around, you get points. So you want to be adjacent to as many temples as possible. You also get points for being on these stone circles here, which also gives you the ability to use your god powers again. So they're very nice to have as well. And of course you have the majority at the sacrificial scoring at the end. So this game reminds me a lot of the Kingdom Builder. You have 3 houses or tents to set around each turn, and that's it. But then you have the manipulation of the board, and I really find it interesting, all this stuff you can do here. Now, the board is 2-sided. One is the A side, and the B side tends to have a lot more forest and blockage, more mountains, so they are much denser to get through. But again, if you're first in the forest, it's easy to explore in the forest. So you can flip and choose whatever, and it adds variety, of course. Now, Kingdom Builder for me is really, really boring. I can't engage in that game because it just feels so abstract. And yet here you do the same thing. You put out 3 tiles, that's it. But still, I don't find it that off-putting as a theme, because you have the gods which are pushing around the tiles, and you have to see what other players do and how the playing field physically alters itself before you can do your stuff. So I can't explain why, but this one is so much more interesting than Kingdom Builder for me. And one thing I like about not being able to switch around a lot here is that you can't plan too far ahead. That means you're less prone to have analysis paralysis here, which I really appreciate having devoid of. Well, Dokmus anyway comes with an expansion this season. I'm really looking forward to what it is. I have no idea what it is, so I'm just kind of, what can I add to this game, which already is good by itself. It doesn't need expansion to be played. So this is a good recommendation from me, Dokmus. However, I have one thing, well, two things. First, the tokens, impossible to grasp. The rule sets can be a bit wordy. For instance, this rule about placing a tent next to a forest which is next to a temple. Let me just quote it here. The player has a token on a forest space that is adjacent to the temple which is itself beside the forest space where the player is placing a token. That is one sentence, and there's 4 points here on placing next to a temple. I really had to read that sentence over and over again. And of course I'm not a native English speaker, so player has a token. It's a long sentence, and a lot of the rules are like that. And rules that says the player instead of he or she or they, it tends to become really hard to read. The player does this, the player does that, and then the player, and yeah, it just doesn't feel right for me. But the rules aside, it's an easy game to go into, easy game to play, and I have a lot of fun with it. So, if you want a recommendation, this is a good one. Okay, thanks for watching, and as always, please check out my Patreon account on patreon.com/takios to see how you can support me financially and influence which kind of games I'm going to review in the future. And yeah, well, thank you for support if you share or anything. I really appreciate that. So, see ya.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at DicetowerNetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.